Hello, hello, and welcome back to the Heroes Hype Amateur Series. I am Gillyweed, this is Anna, and we are at the finals between the Goon Squad and Wild Growth. And it is Game 1.
Game 1, and it is really exciting to see these two powerhouses face off. Do you have any predictions, Gilly?
No. We've seen Wild Growth win 2 or 3 or 4. They've probably won a couple more amateur series than Goon Squad, but Goon Squad won last week. And I think it could be either teams for sure. And I'm looking forward to some good games. Hopefully 3 good games. But we'll have to see. We are in the first draft already, so I'm going to hop over to that. We are on Tomb of the Spider Queen. And Wild Growth has the first pick, first ban, and chose to ban Diablo, while Goon Squad banned Jaina.
Yeah, not surprising. I mean, both of these are really strong players. Jaina does tons of damage. The draft is going very quickly. Sylvanas being the first pick for Wild Growth. Goon Squad following that up immediately with Zagara and Vala. So really wanting to have that Zagara on Tomb of the Spider Queen for vision, mobility, all sorts of good stuff that Zagara can do there.
Yeah, you know, we've talked a little bit about the vision on Tomb of the Spider Queen before. Of course, this is a map where you have to kill minions to pick up gems that you can then turn into the spider eggs to summon web weavers to fight down your lanes. But unlike Blackheart's Bay, this map has 2 different turn-ins, which adds a whole different dynamic. It's very difficult for you to try to watch both turn-in points. And having creep from Zagara all over both makes it so much easier to do that. And so
Absolutely.
she is one of the top heroes on this map. But Wild Growth responding with Illidan and Tychus.
Damage dealing extraordinaire. Sylvanas, Tychus, and Illidan are not 3 people that you look at and say, meh. Those are 3 people you look at and fear. Although, I mean, I'm sure we've talked about how kind of Jaina, Vala, and Sylvanas are really the first picks in terms of damage lately. So I'm sure Wild Growth would have liked to have their pick of Vala or Jaina as well, but Tychus will certainly suffice. Goon Squad now figuring out what to do in response to that. We've only seen damage dealers so far, Zagara being a specialist as well, but she does a lot of damage. So we are going to probably see a healer. There is Rhaegar, so likely Goon Squad is looking to support their whole team, and a tank. ETC will join them. Now, Wild Growth has to figure out what they want to do for a tank because Diablo is off limits. ETC has already been picked. So they have to look and see, do we want to go with a Muradin, which has become a little bit popular? Are we going to see something a little strange like we saw with the Chen earlier? We shall see. What do you predict, Gilly?
Well, this was the team that pulled out the Chen on this game before, or on this map before, so I'm gonna have to say that it's probably gonna be the Chen, but who knows here? It could easily be the Muradin as well. We have been seeing him a lot more. People really liking his stuns. They will also pick up their support here, so I'm guessing Uther will be the support of choice because that's what we've been mostly seeing is Rhaegar on one team, Uther on the other, with an occasional Brightwing thrown into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, that barrel worked so well on this map before. I would not be surprised to see it again. There's the Uther, and we will see what it will be followed up with. Good call on that. We will see some stunnage probably happening and give Illidan and Tychus the time they need to get all over someone and melt them down. But who shall be the one trying to absorb the damage? Who shall it be?
Who indeed? Indubitably. Let's see. Who do we have here as tanks left? We've got... never mind.
Chen.
It's the barrel. Ho, ho, ho. That's my Chen impression.
Way, indeed. We will see Chen likely with the barrel, that's what we've seen before, but of course nothing is a sure thing. Now, Goon Squad is probably looking for some more damage here. They know that they're dealing with a barrel that's going to be rolling all over. They know they're going to be dealing with some stuns. ETC has the potential to stun. Zagara can use a Maw, but I wouldn't be surprised to see them looking for a little bit more control. Although, I don't know, they really do need a lot more damage if they're going to keep up with Tychus, Illidan, and Sylvanas.
Yeah, you know, they could go for a lot more damage. They could also go for super sustain and try to sustain it through. Maybe they'll grab another full healer. We've sometimes seen Rhaegar and Malfurion be taken together. So,
Malfurion could be a cool pick, especially being able to root as well.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Goon Squad definitely considering all options, though, dipping into their time pool pretty heavily, but they've still got 20-some seconds to make their final decision. That is one nice thing about having second pick, is that you do have this last spot where you can try to counter and deal with whatever is thrown your way. In this case, being the Chen a little bit. I mean, Tychus, Illidan, and Sylvanas, but yes!
Ooh, good pick, because that polymorph is going to make it very difficult for Illidan and Chen to get things done. I mean, for everyone to get things done, but specifically I think that applies there. Not a bad pick, but that means that the onus is going to be on Vala and Zagara to move things along. Everyone else is going to be looking to keep them alive.
Yes, that will definitely be the case. But, of course, this map does have a little bit of a PvE element in the coin turning in and the web weavers pushing. So if they can keep their team members alive and not lose those gems by dying, then that could really come into play there.
Yeah, we will see them, as you said, on Tomb of the Spider Queen. We'll see them in close quarters, turning in gems, trying to deny turn-ins of gems. The coolest things that we see on this map usually have to do with making engagements happen in unfavorable circumstances for one team or the other. So, for example, what we're referencing in the last game is we saw an amazing Wandering Keg. That's the barrel ability, I think. Yes, Wandering Keg coming out from Chen while the team was in the bruiser bay, if you will, the little area where the bruisers are, and there's only little ways in and out of that, so it definitely made a lot of difference in pulling people into destruction as opposed to safety.
We'll have to see if maybe we see Wild Growth trying to bait Goon Squad into an engagement in a similar location like that, because that was really the perfect spot. I mean, we saw a couple of really good barrels, but that one that was in like the pinball shoot type hallway was just crazy good. Yeah,
the Pinball Wizard game was a favorite of mine, so we'll see if we get to see that again. We are ready and waiting in the lobby. These two teams, lots of experience, but still part of the amateur league, so really cool that we're seeing some creativity out of them.
Yeah, for sure. It's nice that every week we see them trying a few new different things, and you can tell that they're really practicing together, trying to figure out new things that might work on maps, trip up their opponents, and entertain us along the way.
Also showing quite some style as they're getting ready to go into this game. They've got all sorts of fun skins. Not matching skin tints, though, although we have recommended that as a winning strategy.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, it's always about style points. But Lumberjack Uther is pretty cool.
He's pretty studly, I have to admit.
Is it the plaid?
You know, and the big muscled hairy chest. It's always good. Always good to have a lumberjack around.
For chopping.
Yeah, and, you know, various tasks and sundry. Really important.
Makes sense, including healing and or stunning as well.
Right. He's a number one stunner.
Exactly. Lesser known tasks that a lumberjack can perform for you.
I'm feeling like I need to go hire a lumberjack. All right, guys, getting into this game, we will soon introduce you to our teams, and they will do battle here on Tomb of the Spider Queen. First of all, of course, we have the Goon Squad wearing blue. We've got Hosty playing Brightwing. Zagara will be played by Goat. Yoda will take over the reins on Vala. Teebs will be on ETC. Teebs C, as you said. Love that. And Rhaegar will be played by Get Up.
And on the side of Wild Growth, they're in the red with Jimmy playing that Lumberjack Uther Collusion, playing Chin, Jordo on Illidan, Blythawk and Grim Reaper playing Sylvanas and Tychus, not joining in the fun of Ring Around the Rosie, and I have to dock them some points for that.
Yeah, I mean, Ring Around the Rosie is a really important pregame ritual, and choosing not to participate makes me question their commitment to this game.
And to their team.
Yeah.
How could you not want to travel around following the likes of Lumberjack Uther?
Looks like Goon Squad really wanting to set up for an early trap here, sending Brightwing out as some bait, perhaps. I always love a good trap, and they give up on it before it's sprung, which is fine. That's fine, Goon Squad. They're going to send 2 top, 1 mid, and 2 bottom. Looks like Collusion will be taking them on there in the bottom. And they will be sending quite a few people top. There's now a 3-person push there, but as you mentioned earlier when we were on this map is hard to keep track of who's in what lane because they can so quickly move between them.
Yes, for sure. And Blythawk and Killusion trying to get a gank here on ETC, who will be able to power slide away. And already up top, one of those towers is down to half health. I did want to mention a couple of talents while I have the chance here. Brightwing going for a scouting drone. So on top of the vision that they'll have from the creep, also just grabbing scouting drone to make sure that they have a great idea of what is happening on this map at all times. And there goes a tower. Will they lose someone for it? It looks like no.
Wow. Yeah, we already see creep coming down from Zagara. They want a lot of vision. They're really focused on that. Zagara taking a creep talent first off. Probably will be focusing on that. And now we've got 3v3 going on in the top, 1-1 in the mid lanes, but don't worry, this kind of balanced action won't happen for long. We will see soon turn-ins begin to happen, web weavers start to spawn, and all sorts of action begin to happen in both directions. Now that vision is going to continue to be more and more important, so we see creep tumors going down all around this top turn-in. I would not be surprised to see them start to go down around the bottom turn-in as well. We do have an engagement though here.
Oh, Yoda barely going to go down, was being healed by both Brightwing and Rhaegar. Unfortunately, Brightwing is now caught in between several members of Wild Growth and will be the next victim to the damage dealers of Wild Growth. And that's going to help Wild Growth secure their level 4 talents. I did think it was interesting that Uther picked up Reach at level 1, increasing the range of Holy Light and Flash of Light by 40%. Hardly ever see that as a talent chosen.
Why do you think you might be looking to do that this game?
Oh, poor Brightwing and Venom. Sorry, I was paying attention to whether or not Brightwing would go down. He also went Protective Shield, so maybe just really making sure that he's got sustain there. He is the only healer versus the double heals from the Goon squad, and so the range was reduced at level of his abilities from the last patch, so it might just be something of personal preference. Maybe it's found that he's, you know, something that he really likes specifically. It could also be, I forgot what I was going to say. Just wanting to make sure that he can always reach his teammates with his heals so he's not missing them.
Yeah, when you're in such close quarters, I mean, you're never going to want to be too far from your team, so increased range is always going to help there. Brightwing has gone down at least twice, 3 kills going for Wild Growth. No kills yet for the Goon squad. So they're going to be looking to even that up, although experience is fairly even at this point. Those early game kill timers not very long.
Both teams just trying to kind of secure a turn-in here, it seems like. Wild Growth has quite a few gems that could be turned in, but they're both being really cautious and doing a really good job, too, of clearing out the creep from Zagara. That's really difficult to do and will get more difficult as the level 7 talents come in, especially if she chooses that level 7 creep talent. We'll have to see. But for now, Get Up is going to be able to secure a turn-in, and they're inching closer toward those 50 gems.
Zagara doing a great job of putting down creep tumors, but Wild Growth doing a great job of killing them quickly. We are not seeing them get the use that I know they're hoping. Get Up trying to get out of the way quick enough away from the healing or they put down. Will he make it? He makes it away with just a tiny sliver of health, and Jordo, having engaged so far, is very low, has to back out. Collusion will hold them off while the rest of the team backs off. No deaths there. It was a close one for Jordo.
Yes, for sure. Jimmy is getting some turn-in again, but Goat's going to catch him. And both teams now have their level 7 abilities, 2 first aids for Wild Growth. So picking up more sustain in terms of self-sustainment there. And there it is, the endless creep talent. So really focusing on creep there, even picking up Tumor Clutch at level 4 for Zagara.
Zagara actually not only making sure to put creep tumors down, but also doing a fair amount of harassment around these turn-in sites. Collusion has been trying to turn in for quite some time, and these Hydralisks and Roaches and Banelings keep interrupting him while he's trying.
So annoying. Those things will not leave you alone either. They're slowly catching up with their experience now. Bloodhound trying to turn in, but once again they're going to be pushed away from the Goon Squad, and now you're seeing this creep is so beneficial when it comes to checking out and seeing exactly where the enemy team is.
And also really great Goat paying attention just to these two turn-ins, really alternating back and forth between them, kind of babysitting these two spider nests, which really is the purpose of picking up Zagara. So not bothering to go, you know, further down into the bottom lane or even push at this point, but really just babysitting, making sure these turn-in sites are ours, and it will pay off as Goon Squad does summon their web weavers. They will go to where the waves have been pushed in the lane, which is about middle of the lane in all places. Bottom lane perhaps a little bit further forward, but that will be great for, for Wild Growth. Colors are really confusing me here.
Yeah, Wild Growth was able to sneak in a couple turn-ins up top while Goon Squad was busy with everybody on bot. And that's how the two turn-ins work. So here are the first web weavers. They will push up to wherever the minions are currently at. And so right now they're just trying to take them down as quickly as possible without losing too many structures. These early ones, usually you won't find yourself losing a fort to them quite yet unless the push is really severe. Generally you'll just lose some turrets, and that's what we're seeing here on bot as they clean it up. Mid one still has lots of turrets to go through, as does top. So it should be okay not losing forts just yet here, but the experience gained from turrets will help propel Wild Growth toward their level 10 abilities.
Yeah, and once they have that, again, just as a reminder, if you're not too familiar with the game, that level 10 will give them their heroic ability, and that means that Goon Squad is going to want to wait. They do not want to engage with them because having your heroic abilities is a huge advantage in a team fight. They're not going to want to fight against that, so they're going to fall back, defend, make sure their lanes are taken care of until they get their level 10, which should be very, very shortly here.
And there we go. We've got the Goon Squad with that Wandering Keg for Chen, as well as Divine Shield Odin, Metamorphosis, and Wailing Arrow for the rest of their heroic abilities. And heroics are there as well for the Goon Squad with Emerald Wind, actually, Devouring Maw, Strafe, Stage Dive, and Ancestral Healing.
Interesting. The Emerald Wind is going to push people out of the way, could potentially push people off of a turn-in or help with a team fight if they get in another one of those situations in tight quarters that they don't want to be in. We now see Web Weavers spawning for the Goon Squad. So they will do a little bit to help them in lanes, but nothing super scary as we don't have a lot of access to that side of the map yet.
Yeah, the Emerald Wind is definitely a choice for helping to counter that Illidan. Can definitely use it to push him off of your squishies, and it'll deal quite a bit of damage to him as well. So we'll have to see how that will turn out for them. They do have the Ancestral Healing, so it's not a big of an issue. It won't take away as much from the healing, but it does limit Brightwing's mobility just a bit, not having that.
Absolutely. We see a lot of action going down here. All 5 of Goon Squad pushing in, trying to grab this fort. Only 4 members of Wild Growth will contest. Collusion coming around back, though, trying to kind of make a vice here. No one yet getting taken down. You can see a lot of sustain on the part of Goon Squad.
There is the barrel pushing Goat into the Odin. He will be Ancestral Healed, but instantly is still going to be taken down. It's a lot of damage being thrown, and he couldn't quite get away. Now, though, Jordo is the next one who's going to be very, very low. And they're keeping up on the chase now. It's 1 versus 1 each in terms of deaths. And it's obvious that Wild Growth are the ones who are lower, so Team's going to stage dive in. They almost got Collusion, but ETC will actually be the one who dies for it, and it didn't quite turn out the way they planned, I think.
Yeah, that stage dive could have been a great idea, but there just wasn't enough damage or follow-up to it, and it was just a sacrificial jump, unfortunately for them. They will now retreat, heal up. Looks like they're going to turn their sights to the siege camp in the bot lane. Goon Squad looking to pick that up as Wild Growth heads more toward the top lane. Might grab these bruisers down here on their side of the map.
Man, that was a really fast second turn-in after their first one immediately. So this is going to be 2 turn-ins in a row for the Goon Squad. They're going to have to leave these sieges, though, because here come Wild Growth, and they're not interested in the sieges. They want to pick up a kill here, but we'll just disengage, go after the sieges. They're about to get them. Oh, can get up and go get inside? No, they cannot.
Wow.
Just not quite enough time, and now there's the Emerald Wind to push back Wild Growth, disengage just a little bit, make it a more favorable engagement for the Goon Squad as their Web Weavers continue to push.
Yeah, that team really likes to have a little bit of breathing room, which now they've got. They are going to take down this tower and continue pushing alongside their web weaver. You've got to be careful not to allow any picks, but they are against only 4 people as Tychus is defending here in the mid.
You need to be careful because that one was already getting the fort down, but the top fort will go down to this, and now Tychus looks to be maybe coming in for this, but they've taken out the fort. They got exactly what they want, and the Goon Squad are going to disengage here, but will Wild Growth let them? A great polymorph on Chen ensures that he does not slow somebody down and barrel them into his team. That was a clutch polymorph.
Collusion also making a very tempting target, carrying 20 gems right now. So if Teebs could have just body blocked there a little bit more, Collusion may have gone down, spilling gems in a place where his teammate could not pick them up. Collusion knows that though, and you can see in the psychology of his play that he's certainly not going to be looking for an unfavorable engagement, doesn't want to drop those gems.
Alright, well, level 13 talents now out for both teams. Uther picked up Blessed Champion, so really focused on being healing Uther here with both that and the Reach talent at level 1. Something we don't often see, but really cool to see them experimenting with different talents besides the ones that we always see.
Looks like we will see a Goon Squad turn in here. Won't be enough gems to get Web Weavers, but it's certainly a good start. Also, we see Wild Growth attempting a turn in, but they are going to get largely interrupted. Odin does go down, so they are ready for a team fight. They are willing, and Get Up is quite low, going to run away, and the rest of the team will follow.
Wild Growth did pick up the turn-in, so they've now got Web Weavers descending as well. That's going to really help, but unfortunately for them, they weren't able to really push lanes too much before that, and as such, their Web Weavers are going to have a long way to walk before catching back up to the structures of the Goon Squad, which, by the way, all 3 forts are still up for the Goon Squad. So that's really beneficial to them because they really don't have to freak out. They can come out into the open and kill the Web Weavers before they're even able to get to those forts.
Absolutely. It looks like the team's choosing to group up, which is a good decision right now. They definitely don't want to be in a position to get someone picked off. Although it looks like Goon Squad may not have been as grouped as they would like. Hosty being caught out, that's not where you want a squishy little healer. Collusion trying to get the good pinball going, but gets Maud.
Yeah, but the damage is already done. Goat was already way out of position. That nice Emerald win, though, will take out Illidan and push Collusion back a little bit. Collusion has a lot of gems here. He's going to be really careful. Yoda is going to receive a heal. It's going to ensure that they can continue fighting, and they do take out the Chen. And now it's 4 versus 3. They're chasing down Wild Growth as much as they possibly can. They'd love to grab another pick, but we'll have to disengage here. They did just lose a fort to the bottom Web Weavers, which are almost dead, but they know they're a bit low on health and mana and don't want to really engage underneath turrets if they do not have to.
Goon Squad pushing past where they killed Chen so that those 20 gems were out of reach from their opponents. Really smart play there because those 20 gems will go away and not be accessible anymore, so that's got to be disheartening.
Yep, a lot of gems lost there and only 30 more until once again Goon Squad can get another turn in. So looking pretty grim here as for Wild Growth, as they still have only taken down 1 fort and don't have really very many gems to turn in at this point. Well, they got 23 on Blythawk. That's not nothing to sneeze at. They just got to get them turned in, of course.
I don't tend to sneeze at things that I am derisive about, but I have heard that expression, so maybe I should start. Get Up looking to turn in those 10 coins right now, and that will be Web Weavers for Goon Squad. They will start spawning as we speak. Goon Squad will fall back and take Bruisers just to add insult to injury.
Yeah, we see a lot of teams liking to take these Bruisers right when their Web Weavers spawn because it just heightens the amount of push that goes into that mid lane. Brightwing taking Sticky Powder over Criterize, which we often see at level 16, which is important to note that they have their level 16 talents. But Wild Growth has finally caught up here, so they have theirs too. And now they've got a long amount of time where they can feel comfortable in getting in an engagement. But they probably don't feel comfortable with that as ETC is going to jump in right on top of Jimmy. Goat came around the side. Doesn't catch anybody with the mob, but it does kind of zone a little bit there. And they will instantly take out the Uther. Teebs getting low, but will be ancestral heal. That Rhaegar has been nailing those all game long. Going to disengage here. We're getting a bit low. They want to just group back up with their Web Weaver, help it push. As mid, there is another huge push going on from minions that Wild Growth has to take care of.
Absolutely, and they are forced to make difficult decisions between two unfavorable things. These towers and wall will go down. Blythehawk doing everything that they can just to kind of keep a presence there, but can't really do much to detain them. Grim Reaper also joining in to just make some presence happen there, but the rest of their team is not there. They don't want to get a full engagement. It looks like also Goon Squad not necessarily looking for a full engagement unless they can really get one of those team members to step out of position. We have a pause because of a disconnection. Oh no, poor goat.
Retro. That's alright. We can talk about some talents. We can talk about what Wild Growth needs to do to get back here. But I do want to talk about the fact that we've got 2 Blood for Bloods on the side of the Goon Squad. As Messiah calls Blood for Blood the MVP of this game. They can be used just to really burn down targets. And I think that's what we're seeing here when we see like that Illidan drop so fast. Is they can quickly throw both of those on there, and that takes away a huge chunk of health, which then they can, you know, take out the rest with damagey things like missiles.
Yeah, I actually really love the Brightwing sticky powder versus Illidan, and Blood for Blood on top of that is a really good way to take that slippery little guy and make him stand still for a second while you kill him.
I agree. Slippery is a great way to describe Illidan here. I also was interested in Sylvanas' build going a little bit more, building toward her W a bit more. Shadow Dagger, so picking that life drain at level 7 and then Cold Embrace too. Usually a lot of times we see her build toward that Withering Fire, but a little bit different of a build here. Let's see if I can see the damage here and see how that's going. Sylvanas does have a lot of hero damage here, the highest on her team, and yeah, the highest in game, so might be on to something here. Unfortunately, they are still losing, but it really just seems to be like a matter of turn-ins. The 2 turn-ins in a row really helped catapult Goon Squad to the position that they're in. What would you do here? What would you suggest for Wild Growth?
Well, Wild Growth knows that the problem is that Goon Squad knows their every move because Zagara has done such a great job of putting down creep tumors. The thing that they've been trying to do but haven't quite been successful at, and it is really hard to keep doing, especially when you're pushed back this far, is take down those creep tumors and make it so that they're not such a problem. At this point, I don't know if it's reasonable to say that they should be going out there and taking down creep tumors. So I mean, the fact that they're not at a level disadvantage right now makes me think that they should be aggressive and try to get some picks. The problem with that is if they don't engage well and they end up losing a team fight, it puts them further and further behind. So at this point, there are not a lot of great options for them, and that's just kind of the case when you end up with 3 forts and your opponent still has 5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that if they could get a good engagement here underneath one of these keeps, they've almost got all the web weavers down, which will help at least. And then, can I bring this up? Yeah. They do have enough for a turn-in. It's just a matter of being able to turn in. So I think being able to get a pick, clearing somebody out, and then going quickly for the turn-in, and maybe if they can, even the boss, once they get into those later respawn timers, they just really need to try to win some team fights and then quickly capitalize on that as much as possible. Maybe even, you know, if after this the Goon Squad steps back to heal or something like that, maybe even going and quickly grabbing the turn-in while they possibly can, and then, you know, pushing things back because, you know, getting a turn-in will help push back the lanes in their favor a little bit. And that's what they need. Absolutely,
yeah. Web weavers can be used defensively as well as offensively, so that certainly would not be a hindrance to them. I guess they have plenty of time to think about it now as we do have this disconnection. I know BattleNet has been misbehaving today, so sorry teams and sorry audience. Thank you for your patience, but we certainly have loved hanging out with you today. The best thing to do during a time like this is there's a really awesome purple button right below your screen there on Twitch. It says follow on it. I hear if you click it, it actually makes you 0.7% more attractive. So I would recommend doing that. And, you know, following on Twitter as well. I've heard that makes up the rest of the 0.3% for a full 1% more attractive.
Whoa.
So, Yeah, so if you're looking to be 1% more attractive, I would suggest the duo of clicking both the follow button on Twitter as well as here on Twitch for Heroes Hype. And aside from making you more attractive, it will also let you support a really awesome force in the Heroes community. So cannot recommend that more highly, personally.
I'm going to hop back over to Cam's while they're still trying to fix this game. But you heard it here first, guys. More attractive by following.
Yeah, asterisk, these statements have not been reviewed by the Heroes Hype administration. Cannot be. Anna's comments are on behalf of herself only and do not reflect the views of Heroes Hype Incorporated. So, you know.
In statement.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, you were at Here's the Dorm this past weekend, as was I.
Yes.
And why wouldn't you tell us some of the highlights of Here's the Dorm?
It was... The finals were so good, guys. I actually came back to my office, and I think this is the first time I've ever done this. Someone asked me, how is Heroes of the Dorm? And I gave them a play-by-play of every single game and got to game 5 and was like, oh, you just asked how it was, didn't you? Do you care that you're getting the entire rundown? So if you haven't watched those matches, I recommend it. If you don't want to spend the time to watch all 5, I know that's quite a time commitment. There are videos coming out featuring myself, actually, that Blizzard is going to do little recaps of the games. Which, who knows? I hope they're good because they were me watching the games and then speaking about them right afterwards on film. So I hope they turn out really well. But Gilly and I really enjoyed that. We made our own front row, sat down on the floor, and ate some chocolate cake. And watched Heroes. So there really wasn't much wrong with the world at that moment in our lives.
No, it was pretty fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And I think these teams are about ready to go. Yep, we're going to hop back into it as they count down. And there we go.
Yay!
So we are back.
All right, so we've got some action going on in the bot lane. There are 4 members of Goon Squad looking to push. 3 members of Wild Growth are here to defend, but they've had to deal with some web weavers here too. They are all going to look to defend their poor little base from all manner of destruction.
Illusion looked to maybe engage there, but got polymorphed. Brightwing has been on point with that polymorph on Chen all game, and that's been really cool to witness. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean that we get to see Penball Chen, but that's just how it goes sometimes. And they did a really good job here disengaging. They didn't stay too long. They know that they've got the map turned in their favor, and so they're just going to go and keep the pressure on by picking up more mercs. And so far, no attempts to turn in yet from Wild Growth.
Yeah, that was a really good evaluation of the risks versus rewards. They could have kept pushing, it could have done some more damage, but the risk is not really worth that, and there was very low risk associated with going for those siege giants, so they went ahead and did that. Zagara making sure that the creep tumors are keeping all sorts of vision all over the map so they know exactly where their opponents are. There's not too many on that top turn-in though, so they may not be perfectly aware that the Wild Growth is coming for them in the top lane, but it looks like we have some DC issues. One more time.
Ooh, I DC'd for a second.
And now you're back.
It said you did as well.
There was some sort of disturbance in the force for just a moment.
I felt that. I felt that.
I felt it deep inside my force feelers.
Is game broken?
Exif connected.
Did you pause and unpause super quick? Strange. We're just gonna go back to the cameras here. Hello. Oh, apparently
Gabe.
we're just going right back into the game. All right. But this is like Zagara keeps going out and in, and they're gonna be trying to control this bot here, and they're gonna pause it again. Technical issues.
The difficulties of online gaming. It feels almost as though we are back in 2011, not so very long ago. But
how long ago was that?
4 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What is this year?
It is
What are you
2015.
currently in?
It's the year of Anna, actually.
Is
in case
it?
you were wondering. Yeah. My birthday is 2/15. So it's 2/15, 2015. The year of Anna.
Hasn't it already passed though?
Yeah, it did. But
So
it
wouldn't it have
started the year of
been-
Anna.
Okay, I see then. Because I didn't know if maybe it would have started last birthday and moved up to this one, but I see that now it's like proactive. It's going forward.
Right, because it is 2015. and my birthday is 2/15, so it has to be this year. So, you know, everything in the world that I've ever wanted is going to happen to me this year.
Is it?
I guess so. I mean, that seems like the only logical explanation. Right now, I want this game to reconnect. So, since this is the year of Anna, please, based Blizzard, reconnect this game.
When would my year be if it's July 16th? 7/16.
So, 7016 would be your year.
I don't like that. I will not be live.
I'm sorry, Gilly.
I do have a secret wish that someone will figure out a way to download consciousness into MMO games. I've had this wish since I started playing World of Warcraft in high school.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, so that like when you get old, you can just download straight in, and then you would be like this World of Warcraft character, or, you know, whatever MMO of your choice. I mean, if you're smart, you would pick World of Warcraft, of course, but I won't hold it against you for a different one. And I would just, you know, live on in the World of Warcraft, enjoying raiding forever.
Yeah, but then what about when you stop leveling? Like, what are you going to do with yourself?
Hang out at the tavern, man, until they release another... Oh, we're back at the game. Okay.
There's a paw. It got some people.
Oh no, but Zagara is still a bot. Get away, bot Zagara. You can do it. I believe in you.
Botgara, don't be too aggro.
Oh, actually, they got a kill on Sylvanas even with Botgara and Chin. And they're working their way toward maybe taking out Jordo, although Teeves will go down. Jordo is still low and cannot be saved by Jimmy. And that's a lot of...
Botgara MVP.
Right? That is a lot of gems hanging
That
out
is 4 people dead on behalf of Wild Growth. So now, Goon Squad has some free reign to do whatever they like.
I feel like we might have just seen a lot of Botgara pinging. Like, no, Botgara, get back, Botgara, do not engage the enemy.
Looks like they will now go for this boss, which is a great idea. Whenever you have time to take something risky, it is a good time to do it. So they're going to get that healing ward up for Get Up. They're going to take this boss. Get Up has 22 coins, so probably gems, excuse me. Probably looking to turn in soon as well. And this boss will push for them in the top.
Yeah, I mean, they've got so much going for them. They've got the boss. They could... Do they have enough to turn in as well to get it? Not quite, because if you have a turn in and the web weavers... Yeah, the web weavers are pushing with the boss. That is so much damage trying to deal with. On top of that, Goon Squad's about to hit 20 as well. This boss, this keeps already so low, the boss is going to have no problem taking it out. And on top of that, Goon Squad is doing a great job of keeping on the pressure by picking up these bruisers as well. And there's one keep down. I feel like we might see another one before the end of this push, if not before.
Yeah, I mean, this just puts Wild Growth on the back foot. They have to defend. There's nothing else they can do other than defend, and then hope that they can manage to get some sort of pick when Goon Squad decides to engage. So the problem is that their success depends on their opponent's mistake, and that's never a situation you want to be in.
Well, I mean, they do have a bot, so it's possible. But they're the level...
Botgara so aggro.
No, they're pinging her to their heart's content here. Yeah, there's just a lot of push. All these lanes are pushed. They've got to deal with these. It does give them a lot of gems to deal with lanes that are pushed like this, which is something that is very difficult to try to pick up when you have the lanes pushed in your favor, like we're seeing for the Goon Squad. It's really hard to try to pick up a ton of gems here, because you have to go all the way up to your opponent's base just to try to grab them. So instead, they're just choosing to pick up merc camps, and Wild Growth just really wants to get to that 20.
Looks like Goon Squad is probably going to be extra careful now that they have a bot pinging her like a dog. Come here, Botgara, come here, Botgara. Showing her exactly where they want her to go, but it is a little bit more cumbersome, but I commend them doing a great job of communicating with AI here. So they are going to push this bottom lane. They have bruisers pushing in the mid lane. They have siege giants pushing in the bottom lane. They just had a boss pushing in the top lane. Things are looking good for them.
I kind of forgot that she was a bot for a second, and I was like, Fury of the Storm! Who takes that? And then I remembered that Zagara is in fact a bot, who is standing right up next to Teeves. Move her back a bit. There we go. A maw that does not grab anybody, but at least keeps them from walking through while they take out that keep. So something.
Yeah, I mean, zoning has proven to be an important part of this game with maw, so not the worst thing that Botgara could have done. They are going to rotate mid here, and they're going to look to take down this well first and then go for this keep. They're looking to create a clear path toward that core. No obstacles. Collusion looking for an opportunity to engage. Not yet with the barrel. Hoping we'll see that soon, but it's not going to do a whole lot of good unless they can really control where people are. There you go. Pushing Botgara back. Oh, the poor baby bot will go down. But a good strategy from Wild Growth.
They'll actually take out Hosty too before he can get the ancestral healing. And so now, for once, Wild Growth is on the chase. They know that this is their chance. They've just picked up 20. They're going to grab Rhaegar here. And that's going to be a GG from Rhaegar, which they've still got, you know, forts and keeps to go through. But they're going to turn in here. They could finally secure a turn in. And what will they do with this little bit of advantage they have?
Well, that was, like we said, the one advantage that they needed to get. They needed some breathing room. They needed to get some picks. And now they've got a turn in on their side. So that will help them defend. But like you said, I mean, they are still in a very precarious position. So unless Goon Squad is looking at this and saying, we just don't even care anymore, which it doesn't seem like we see Teebs and Yoda doing, then they certainly still have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, Bot Zagara didn't exactly land her mob, but she also helped them secure some kills earlier. So they're definitely not out of it. It's just a little bit more difficult here, and here comes the push in. And they're going to maybe try to, I don't think Barrel's up quite yet, nope, but Yoda getting a ton of damage thanks to an Envenom. Will throw down for Strafe, so a lot of heroics being used here. We've got a couple left though, and there's a good mob, picks up a couple of people. Unfortunately, nothing really to engage upon that, so Zagara's going back for some reason.
Oh, and Goat has lost the connection. Goat restored their connection. Alright, well, the thing is that Zagara was really a linchpin of this team composition, right? Zagara was putting down all sorts of creep tumors, and that was how they had such great map control. So now, since Bot Zagara doesn't seem to be as interested in putting down creep tumors, and also can't communicate about when she's using her heroic and things like that, it's really putting Goon Squad in a position they did not plan on being in with the composition they drafted. Although they are getting Collusion out of position, they are now going on the offensive with Wild Growth pulling back. Now they're kind of in that position that their opponents were in before, where they're looking to get a crucial pick and make some space for themselves.
They still have all of their keeps, and there's still no keeps up for a Wild Growth. So if they're able to get, you know, a good team fight and a team wipe at any point, they can easily go in, especially this late of a game. These bruisers are going to help create a little bit of space for Wild Growth, but they know that the push is coming. They're just trying to delay as much as possible, trying to figure out their next move. They really only have one lane that's not pushed out in their favor, at least, so that does give them a little bit of pressure, or a little bit of relief of pressure.
I think that a really good idea for Goon Squad would be to focus on turning in, making sure that they've got gems tucked away, because web weavers could really help them create that space they need to finally push the core. But it looks like Wild Growth is not going to let up any of the pressure. They are headed toward boss right now. And they will take that boss, which will do some pushing, and that might be the end of that keep that was up in the top lane. We will see.
Let's see how many. Unfortunately for Goon Squad, the problem is that trying to get gems, that many gems this late in the game,
It's tough.
They have some, but they do not have 65 worth, that's for sure. Here they come, they're going to try to engage in. Yoda getting barreled out this time. It's going to take a lot of damage and will be the next one to go down. Collusion survives the Maw and now is jumping in. Zagara will die next. There goes Brightwing. Teebs and Get Up are the only two left. Get Up will be next to fall, and Teebs' nice blink will go into their base, but they don't even need to go back for the boss at this point. They know that they're up 5-1 and are just going to push in and take out this keep.
Yeah, this is Goat typing a little bit of frustration there in the chat. Understandably so, as I really do feel like Goon Squad had a great advantage going before this disconnection issue started happening, and now it looks like Wild Growth will be able to take down the core and win the game.
ETC's there, he's stage dove in, trying to take out the core, but it will not be enough. One person pushing versus 5 is never gonna work for you, and that's the case. Unfortunately, a disconnect does mean that Wild Growth will be able to pick up the first game, but it is a best of 3, so hopefully they can pick up a better internet connection. I don't know, a sub, whatever they need to do to be able to play the next games for sure.
Yeah, Wild Growth showing some good sportsmanship, apologizing, saying sorry for the disconnection, but of course not wanting to give up an inch in this competition. So we will see in Game 2 whether we will have the full team back for Goon Squad or whether we will see a sub. So I'm looking forward to it, Gilly.
I am too, guys. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back with Game 2 of this best of 3 in the HeroesHype Amateur Series Grand Finals. See you in a bit.